have always desired to run or walk? And you want to be that kind of people that can relate to or talk about exercise as being one of the best things for you, but you are overwhelmed and you are thinking, where can I start? We'll be giving a beginner's guide to walking or running 100 kilometers. I'm not going to say 100 kilometers in a week. As I say, this is not aimed for professional elite athletes, but is meant for those people who maybe want to do 10,000. Where can I start from? So today what I'm going to do, I'm going to break down this whole journey of, let's say you want to run or walk for 100 kilometers so that it becomes easy for you to do it within a short period of time. So the first thing that I think I would love to encourage you, if this is something you want to do and it's something that you've ever thought about, the first thing, of course, is to decide which amount of kilometers or how many kilometers do you want to walk. This video, I'm going to be highlighting walking 100 kilometers or running 100 kilometers in a month. You can do 200 kilometers, you can do 50 kilometers using some of the tips that I'll give in this video. You just need to break it down to fit whatever you want to do. You've decided you want to do 100 kilometers. What I suggest to do is to break that 100 kilometers into small bit sizes. For example, if you want to do 100 kilometers of a run, you can either do 10 kilometers in 10 days in a month and you'll have done 100 kilometers. Obviously, that's not for a beginner. That will be maybe somebody who is advanced or mid-advanced kind of a person. So you can also do it the other way around. You can decide you can do 5 kilometers for 20 days in a month and you can be able to achieve the 100 targets. I feel like 5 kilometers is something that is doable because that's like 5,000 steps. A lot of us do maybe that in a day. So once you've decided and you've said, okay, I'm going to be running or I'm going to be walking for 100, break it down. I will suggest do it, let's say 5 kilometers. A month typically has got 30 days. Depending on, you divide that into, I need to do 5 kilometers run for 20 days. So that means I have extra 10 days. Once that is done, what you will do is to try and plan it out in such a way that you can divide and you know which ones will be your training days or the walking, running days, and which one will be your resting days. So once you've identified, let's say you've identified you want to do 5 kilometers for 20 days, plan it out in such a way that you can have one a day to try and do that for the days that you're running or walking. So why am I saying you try and plan for an hour? Because you need to bookend your running with, first of all, at the beginning, you need a warm up. And then at the end, you need a cool down. So you always have to bookend your running or your activities with a warm up and a cool down because you don't want to injure yourself, particularly if you're running and if you're new to running. So you can say, for example, if I've got 1 hour of activities, you can take, let's say, 10 minutes at the beginning, do some warm up, do some stretches. There's so many people that have done different warm up videos on YouTube that you can watch some of them and see how to get yourself into the mood, how to warm yourself up. And then once you've done that, if you're walking, 5 kilometers could take you easily an hour, but if you're running, for example, even if it's a very short pace, that could be around 50 minutes or so. But then once you've finished, you really want to go into cooling so that you're not injuring yourself, because the problem with starting to run without necessarily doing a good warm up and a cool down, you can actually end up with injuries, and that will discourage you from continuing to run. And then once you've decided you're going to identify that hour, I prefer to do it religiously at the same time. So, maybe it's in the morning or maybe it's in the evening, you have that time and then you can set it out for you to do your exercise. But again, if you find it's difficult to set a chunk of an hour, you can actually break it down, maybe do half of it in the morning, half of it in the evening. And walking is particularly good because you can actually do it as part of your normal day. So instead of maybe taking a bus for a long time or driving, you can come off the bus a bit earlier and then just put in a step counter to count you towards your 5K that you want to do in a day. And then what I will highly suggest is you can decide and say, maybe I'm going to do Monday and then Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever. But give yourself at least a day or 2 days of rest, because you don't want again to overdo it and you end up with injuries. Rest is very important. No matter which kind of regime you're doing, it's always nice to allow your muscles to recover, to allow your body to recover, to recuperate, to have enough energy to go ahead. So those 10 days that you're having, so you have the 20 days for training if you're doing 5K, the 10 days remaining are spaced around so that you can be able to get your rest within those days. So for example, if you're starting to run, I wouldn't highly recommend that you start to run and you're doing like a sprint as such. The best thing you can do is even just walking rest, like kind of in a way pacing it up, so that if this is the first time you're doing it, it's the first time you're running, you don't want to wear yourself in the first day so that at the next day you can't go out to run because you're already exhausted. Then the other thing that I would suggest, I've talked about planning how much you want to do. So let's say 20 days of 5 kilometers, and then set the time that you want to do. And sometimes we just be maybe put it even on your to-do list so that you're not forgetting about it. And then maybe plan for at least an hour and then bookend that 1 hour at the beginning with a warm-up session and at the end with a calling session. And then once you've done that, the next thing that I would love you to do, or it will be nice for you to do, is to try again and think about those rest days. What do you do on the rest days? You can do stretches. You can do, for example, walking. If you've been running, you can do walking. So at least you're keeping yourself in the pace. Even though you're resting, you're still kind of allowing your body to get acclimatized and allowing your body to get used to it. And so once you do that, once you've decided all those things, the other thing I will highly recommend you to do, of course, it will help you to be able to track the distance you're doing and things like that, is to have a tracker. Some people invest in smartwatches that can be used to show you how many kilometers you've done. Or you can just use your phone. If you have a smartphone, it will always have like these I can have the step counters. And of course, I've tried so many times and I realized if I do 5,000 steps is equivalent to about 5 kilometers. If you don't have a smartphone, that could be something you might want to invest in, but you can as well just have apps load. So the ones that I've used and they're really been effective for me are things like sorry, Map My Walks. I'm going to show you on my phone basically what I do with the Map My Walk and what it does for me. So I'm going to just try to bring out my phone so that I show you the app. So the app looks like this. If Map My walk looks like, if I try to zoom in a little bit, so you can see in this here, you are able to see like the distances that you run. It can tell you, for example, this morning I did a bit of exercise. It tells you how many kilometers you've run, how many calories you've burned, what was the time that you spent going for that run, etc. So that can be one good example of apps that you can use. The other thing that I find so helpful as well is Strava. You can use Strava again. It's a good idea and it's a good thing for you to try and do it. So this is how my Strava looks like. It's just an app. So if I try to zoom in, I don't know if you can see that clearly. And it gives you that opportunity to be able, for example, to again record. This records for me the kilometers. This records for me how much I run, the pace at which I run, and those are quite really good apps that I can highly recommend if you really want to track down what you're doing. Of course, you can as well use apps like MyFitnessPal, but that can only tell you or track for you. Mainly it can give you some ideas about the steps, but it's not going to give you much about running and things like that. So you need to decide, if I recap, decide how you're going to do that. And then once you've decided, begin the journey by bookending the beginning, have a warm up, have a cool down, have a tracker, Map My Fitness, Map My Run, or Strava can be good for that. And then once that is done, always remember at the beginning and the end, once you've done, let's say you've set your weekly goals, always to celebrate them, because that's going to encourage you to keep on going. The final thing that I want to do is give you a few tips that could be helpful in this whole journey. The tips I mean with this case is that, for example, if you're trying to do this whole journey of running, one of the things that I love to do, one of the things that I find it being really, really helpful is having a community. I'm a very strong believer on having a community, doing life with other people. So you might want, if you join, for example, Strava, I've got Strava people that I follow and people that follow me, and that really encourages me when I see them running, when I see them doing their stuff. It kind of, in a way, encourages me to do that. So you might want to do things like that, or you can just get a buddy, get a friend, get a sister, get a hood, brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever, somebody that you can do the journey together. And if you want, of course, you can as well comment on the section below and let me know you're doing it, and I'll be here to support you, to champion you on, and to keep on encouraging you if you share your journey along the way. And once you do that, it's always nice because you know you've got somebody you're accountable to. And once you know you're accountable to someone, that gives you that kind of faithfulness to want to do it. So hopefully that was helpful. So again, remember, break it down into smaller chunks, and then bookend your time with warm-ups and cool downs. And then after that, decide what you're doing, decide if you're going to use, it's nice to track your progress using a given app. That would be amazing. And then have community, people that can help you and support you. If you find this useful, leave a comment in the section below. Encourage me by me knowing what you've been doing. And if you need somebody just to kind of cheer you on, if you decide you want to do this, of course, leave it again in the comment section below, and I'll be here championing you on